I have no idea what the layout of this episode or podcast is supposed to be.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm ready for Iron Man input from a diehard Iron Man fan.
It do be that way. Well, we're starting to get with the input because the intro's going right now. And welcome back, folks, to another exciting episode of Dayton's Couch. I'm your host, as always, Noah, and with me in studio is my co-host, John.
Hello.
And then over the phone, we have our dear friend, Dayton.
Yeah, it's me, the Dayton.
Yeah, he's the guy who the couch is named after. Well, actually, it's not. The couch isn't named after you. It's just your couch. And, I mean, now it's my couch. But, you know, Noah's couch
it's
doesn't sound...
Couch.
Yeah.
It's my old couch. I gave it to you when I moved out of state.
Yeah, and it's a good couch. There's I guess we should talk about the history of the couch. It's had...
I mean, the show is named after it.
Yeah, so it's had many a snacks on it, many a dogs, many a cats, a few women on it. Ayo. What else?
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I bought it as like our first couch together.
Oh.
Like, really, it might have been our first furniture purchase, now that I think about it, like big one.
Oh. So what you're saying is one day when we do the museum, we're gonna have to keep it for that reason alone, you know, just keep it as Dayton and Brooke's very first furniture purchase, and then it'll be in the Museum of Podcasting and Music and...
That's here to interrupt. Hi, Marky.
Hi, Morky.
Man,
Sorry.
why doesn't Ozai ever actually have his voice on the podcast? Every single time we try to get him, he's silent.
Mm-hmm. We have to put do the audio dub in order to get him in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for my cat, she's very elusive. You know, Morky.
You're right.
Yeah, but whenever one of us is like on the phone, she always wants to say hi.
It do be that way sometimes. Well, welcome back, folks. How's everyone doing this week? That would be you, and that'd be you.
I'm trying to get the cat to come over here to see if we can actually get him to talk.
well, how about you, Dayton? How are you doing this week?
I'm doing all right. You know, working, sleeping. You know, same old, pretty much. It's finally getting busy, so I'm finally actually making some money soon. My next paycheck should be great, so that'd be great.
Very nice. It is great when the paycheck is great.
Yeah, especially when your job is very seasonal.
Yeah.
You struggle for 4 to 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, those are the joys of food and hospitality. You struggle, but then when those checks are nice, they're nice.
Yeah, when they're nice, they're nice. You're banking for the other rest of the months.
Yeah.
Well, at least like 4 to 6 of them.
Yeah.
A couple of months, you're just kind of like, all right, everything's fine, but I don't have spending money.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just floating by. It's good times. How about you, John?
Something interesting finally happened in my week. I got accepted into the music school that I was aiming for.
And which one would that be?
Wichita State.
Very nice.
Blue shots.
Yeah.
Yep. Wichita State School of Music.
Very nice. Very nice. How about what's everyone playing right now?
I started playing through Death Stranding to get ready for Death Stranding 2 that's coming out in a couple months.
Very nice, very nice. How about you, Dayton?
Well, I finally caved in and downloaded Baldur's Gate 3.
Nice.
I've been wanting to play it for a long time, but I just haven't had money for a big spin like that. But then PlayStation had to be like, the normal game is $69.99 right now on deal. But the deluxe edition is $49.99, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't say no to that."
Yeah, they do that sometimes.
Like that is like half off. Like that's insane.
Yeah,
it's like $40 on PC.
Yeah, usually on PlayStation it's like $89.
Yeah. Is Clayton on that one?
I think so. I'm very early into it, but I mean it's based off of fifth edition D&D, and I know how to play that.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Well,
I'm not great at it, but I know it.
I do be that way. Well, I'm like, because I've been trying to find a game that I and Clayton will play, because he won't join our team that we're putting together on Rivals.
100%. He has it. I don't know if he's playing it currently.
And they just released
I know he's a dungeon master. He has to have it.
Yeah.
They just released the update that allows cross compatibility between consoles for Baldur's Gate. So if you get that, I'd be able to play it with you on PC as well.
Hey,
we can get I think it's 5 together.
Whoa.
Usually it's a party of 4. I don't know if they added
Is it
the ability. It usually
there might be a difference between offline and online.
There could be a mod that adds a 5th player if you want or something. Because
maybe I'm thinking I had 5 players on my team, but one of them was a familiar, so maybe that doesn't count.
Yeah. You can add like familiars or like hirelings and stuff.
Yeah. Well, so
that's probably what I was thinking.
I just remember when the game came out, and like it was such a revolutionary game, and like, you know, prior to that, one of the big groundbreaking games that come out before it was Red Dead Redemption 2, where you could skin a bear, but in this game you can have relations with a bear. So I'm like, you know, we're moving on up in the world.
The fact that like just the way that it's built like D&D. It's just so much fun, and like so much thought went into it. It's great. I've played it for a few hours and I'm in love.
I do be that way. Well, speaking of things that had thought that went into it, here's something that kind of had some thought that went into it. Iron Man 2. Ayo.
Perfect transition.
I know. I'm getting good at it. So, what was everyone's initial thoughts after having watched this movie? John, why don't you start?
Well, I realized that I have no memories of watching this movie other than, I think, the racetrack, the F1 racetrack scene is like the only scene that I remember. For some reason, the only Iron Man movies that I remember is Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 3. I don't know. Everyone says that like Iron Man 3 is where the Iron Man movies drop off, but I don't know. Iron Man 2 is just like,
it's there.
I don't remember like anything about it, but after watching it for the first time in a probably very, very long time, I enjoyed it. It's not as good as the first one, but it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Dayton? What do you think?
Well, I didn't rewatch it recently, but for me, that means I haven't rewatched it in a few months. So, I'm an avid Iron Man fan, have been since I was a child.
It do be that way.
I know a lot of details of this movie and all films with Iron Man in it. I'm not super caught up on cartoons, but I know films and a good amount of the early comics.
Very nice. So
yeah.
So I'm trying to remember the last time that I watched this, other than like caught it on like. Remember that when they used to give you the movie channels on cable for like the weekend because it was Memorial Day or something like that? Does anybody remember that? No.
No. I mean, not really. We didn't really have a service like that.
Okay, so there was at least the cable provider that my family had when I was growing up. We had like the basic plan, just regular channels or whatever. And then on like Memorial Day or 4th of July, they would give you like some movie channels just for the weekend. And so during that time, we would record every single movie that we could, and that would just have our DVR full of that. And I think that was the last time that I had seen Iron Man 2. And since then, I've been able to pick up on subtleties and take notes, and I think it's as good as the first Iron Man, but where like the first Iron Man also has some issues. This movie has just as many issues, just in different areas. Like,
Yeah. I definitely see and somewhat agree with Iron Man 1. It's classic. It kick-started the MCU. It's got some issues, but it's good. It's an Iron Man movie. Iron Man 3, fairly common opinion that the trilogy drops off.
I have unpopular opinions about that movie, but we'll get to that eventually.
We'll get to that. But Iron Man 2, just for a lot of people, was just kind of there.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I came into this movie as a big fan of the villain Whiplash. The Whiplash in the comics, the early comics, he was just so fun. Like, you hated him. He was a dick.
Yeah.
But he was cocky, like Iron Man.
Right.
And they would just banter back and forth. But yeah, and then we'll get to that. Go ahead.
Well, so like one of the things when I was doing my research for the film, they kind of mixed Crimson Dynamo, Whiplash, and there's another villain that I can't think off the top of my head. Oh, well, his father is like the initial Crimson Dynamo, I believe. But then he, like, Ivan Vanko is kind of made up just for this movie, I believe. And then I could be getting all my facts mixed up. But I remember it was like a mixture of Crimson Dynamo and Whiplash. From my understanding, what they wanted to do was they wanted the Mandarin to be the main villain of the first film, and then Ironmonger was supposed to be kind of the overarching villain of the later films. And so, like, they were supposed to be building up to that, but that did not happen because they thought the Mandarin would be silly. And, I mean, they're not wrong, but, yeah.
They just didn't get it wrong. They did the Mandarin so dirty. We'll get to that.
Yeah. But
I have stronger opinions about that one.
Fair enough. Maybe we got you on for the wrong Iron Man film. Well, I reckon we'll have you on for Iron Man 3 when we get to that.
I feel like I should just be your Iron Man consultant.
gotta get an expert. What is this, Pawn Stars?
I've been an Iron Man fan since like 2005, when I could like really start understanding comic books.
It do be that way. Well, does anyone ever really understand comic books? Do you understand comics, John?
That I don't read comics at all.
I mean, that's fair. It's probably a good thing. I wouldn't recommend it.
I haven't read comics in a while.
It's just a lot of heartache. So the story of this one, it's kind of a mixture of Demon in the Bottle and Armor Wars 2. But they didn't really dive into the Demon in the Bottle thing, and that was like a studio choice, wasn't it? Just because they thought it was too close to Robert Downey Jr. as a real person.
Kinda, sorta, yeah. That was definitely influenced. They didn't want like him to show that persona on screen, and it was also they didn't want to show their new superhero everybody's supposed to be rooting for to become an alcoholic asshole.
Yeah, be a shame if he were anything like the character in the comics.
Yeah, they showed a glimpse of it.
Yeah,
but then they just kind of went on.
Yeah, no.
But that would have been like, I don't know. I feel like they could have spent a lot more time doing that and have him come out of it. Like, that would be great.
Would have actually given Pepper something to do in this film. I mean,
it would have been perfect to do that like right after the Avengers.
Yeah.
Add it to the anxiety issues that he was having.
Yeah, actually, that would have been good. Because, I mean, the other thing is, in the initial Demon in a Bottle run, I don't believe it's Pepper, but it's like his love interest at the time. She's the one that helps him come out of it, and like he's forced to leave the Avengers. He stops leading the Avengers at that time. And then in Armor Wars 2, that's Rhodey plays a very big part in it. and he helps him out in the end, because it's basically just everyone else has Iron Man suits, and they're like, we're gonna steal your tech and be bad. And I think there's like a floating city or something like that. But anyways, that's part of the mess of this film. I feel like one of the other big messes of this film is the dialogue. I noticed it particularly after during the initial like scene where he's with the Senate, and I just don't understand a single thing that he's saying. Like, some of it's coherent, but other stuff I'm like, wait, what are you getting at? Like, the ad-libbing was a big part of the first one, and so they did a lot of that during this one. However, the difference was there was a writer's strike going on, so whereas in the first one they had people kind of like adjusting things in the script to go off of RDJ, they didn't have that luxury in this one. What's everyone's take on that?
I definitely agree with like you can definitely tell that the banter between characters isn't there as much as it was in the first movie.
Yeah. Oh, Dayton.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Definitely had a little bit lacking. Like, they came out strong with like the courtroom scene, and then it kind of tapers off for sure. Especially with the like the villain, or not even villain, just bad assholes.
Yeah,
dialogue.
Yeah.
Hammer is a joke.
He is, but I will say, this is also in my notes, I think he's one of my favorite parts of this movie. My note is simply, Justin Hammer is a treat. So in the comics, he's kind of this grumpy old man, but in this, he's kind of the equivalent to Tony Stark, but instead of like him being like this competent, rich, old miser of a businessman, he's just this blundering idiot who somehow skated by. And I love that, like, when he hacks into the system and he's like displaying it for the world to see, there's just this clip of somebody who's getting turned around, and like he's like, that man survived.
Yeah, I just want you to know the pilot survived that.
He's not even denying that it was a commercial failure. He's just like, he did survive.
Yeah, but he can't feel his legs.
And he's like that throughout the entire film. And so this is kind of a note I have. He is a character that I think should make an appearance like in other MCU films as just kind of this bumbling idiot who's like making his way in the new, like, in the brave new world, as I guess the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have it. But he's just,
I still haven't seen that movie.
It's Iron Man 2 is better.
Yeah.
But
I would probably concur. I would put Iron Man 2 above most of the new films.
Yeah. It's the difference is I remember things from Iron Man 2, and in Brave New Bird, I just
Brave New Bird.
Yeah, it is certainly 2 hours. This movie was also 2 hours. Elon Musk makes a cameo in this.
Oh yeah, right before the racing scene.
Yeah, and his the place where Justin Hammer has Ivan Vanko kind of, I don't know, staying, that is a SpaceX facility.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's,
Is it really?
Yeah, and the people in the background are actual employees. So yeah, that's a fun fact. The Monaco scene is pretty great. It makes no sense why Tony just, I mean, I guess he's dying, so he's like, I'm gonna go race cars.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I mean, like,
he's going through a existential crisis right now.
But that whole sequence is great, and it's short, it's simple, it's sweet. Like, the actual fight is like 15-20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
They show sorry. They show the briefcase suit. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So
I love it so much.
I feel like you would know the major reference for the briefcase. Would you like sharing that with the audience?
So, like, the briefcase is classic. It's the original way that Tony Stark could carry around his suit and not be obvious about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it comes from. There's plenty of things that the briefcase has been used as, like, as well as a suit. He's turned it into skates. He's turned it into a scooter. He's had cars pop out of them.
Like I said, John, comics are wacky.
Why does he need a scooter if the ability to fly?
Because sometimes Iron Man needs a scooter.
Before he had the ability to fly.
He didn't always have the ability to fly?
No, he actually did not always have the ability to fly. In the early comics, his early suits, he could just like skate around on jet skates or a jet scooter. But but usually it's around like the third issue. I'm pretty sure in the OG comic strip, the original, I think it was the third issue that he gained the ability to fly.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
There's a few out there that he didn't have the ability to fly.
He was waiting.
It's so comical.
He was just waiting for the software update to finally download. It was a wild time in the 60s.
Yep.
So
late 60s.
So after the Monaco sequence, my notes kind of take a little bit of a dive. The next thing I have is exit the donut.
Oh yeah, the donut shop.
Yep, I remember that. And
Sir, can you please exit the donut?
Yep. Along with that, I also have my board. Nick Fury was in these, so that was actually kind of the biggest dispute between Favreau and the studio, from my understanding, was that they wanted to push Fury and they wanted to push Black Widow and they really wanted to push the Avengers in this. And I got a few fun facts in there for later. And he was trying to not do that, but that kind of cluttered his film.
Yeah. I definitely feel like Black Widow in the movie was kind of a forced character a little bit. Like, I don't know. She did like a lot to move the story forward, mm-hmm. but in ways that it wasn't necessary to have her, because a lot of the things she does could have just been done by Pepper Potts or like a separate character to just like move things along for a second and you never see that character again.
Yeah.
I don't know. And thinking back on it, it definitely just seems like her character in that movie was just kind of forced in there. Yeah. Yeah.
I specifically the part where she's it's right before Tony's party and she's like, I would do whatever I want with whoever I want it with.
And then later in a later scene she complains about Tony Stark like making a mess of himself and and fighting War Machine.
Yeah.
So you were the one that pretty much caused the whole confrontation in the first place.
All right.
By encouraging him.
So here's what we've learned from our rewatch of the MCU thus far. It is Bruce Banner's fault that people have died and that Iron Man died, and it is Black Widow's fault that that War Machine exists.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, so, don't talk shit on my sidekick.
I mean, he's all right. There was that time in the comics where Tony Stark died and War Machine and Rhodey was Iron Man for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but he wasn't actually dead because comics, no one ever dies unless you're Bucky or Jason Todd. Except that's not even true anymore.
Yeah, that's not true. No one ever dies in comics. You just got to make sure that you're reading the same continuous story each time.
Not even the
Or,
Red
like,
Skull.
Keep it straight while you're reading.
Yeah. So from there, my next note is the Black Widow scene is great, and I'm referring to the hallway bit. She may have been shoehorned in there, but when she is shoehorned into a hallway, that's pretty great. Happy gets a little action sequence where he's fighting one guy, and then she flat up is like hanging a dude.
Yeah, I mean, you see that his hands are like in between his neck and the wire, so it's not fully like he's not suffocating fully, but I mean, it's still got to do quite a bit of damage.
I mean, I guess she's a Russian spy. I've noticed that they like they kind of allude to her being a little Russian in the first two, and then they just completely forget about it in everything since.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Until the movie.
Yeah, and then they briefly mention that she's Russian in here.
Which
the whole movie Black Widow is based around her Russian past.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said last night, it sucks that we didn't get a Black Widow movie until after Marvel kind of went downhill.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
It would have been good to see a good Black Widow movie.
I would have loved to see a Black Widow before Avengers 2.
Yeah. I would have liked a Black Widow with either like her and Barton doing something, just...
Yeah. Honestly, you know what? I've always thought this.
That's not what we meant by talk on the podcast. No, what? Jeez.
What?
The cat's vomiting. Dear God. That's not what we meant, Ozai.
We've gone about a week straight without at least me noticing any...
What? I was like, same spot. Don't move around. Not by the drum kit.
So anyways, while you're dealing with that, I would have loved to see a Black Widow and Hawkeye team up as like an anti-hero, or I guess an anti-villain duo against Iron Man in like Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3 or something like that. That's how they were introduced in the comics from the first place.
Yeah.
Well, because Clint Barton is kind of just he's a crook bloke in the comics until he like isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of same thing with Black Widow, right?
He's head over heels for Black Widow, and she's just like, okay, cool, you little dog. The entire time, and she'll come in and fuck up Iron Man, and then Hawkeye will catch him with one arrow while he's off guard. And then Iron Man wins in the end, but because he always does. But
except for that one time in Civil War, ayo.
Oh man, I got feelings about Civil War.
I mean, I'm more referring to the comics. I mean, technically he won, but then he didn't. Morally, it's it's an interesting run. So my next note was the montage ending in The Ex-Wife. Justin Hammer, going back to Justin Hammer, is just this idiot floating by, and he's like, "This is not enough for you," and he's just like, "This is a hunter shotgun, but you're not hunting deer." And then he like pulls out a machine gun, and he's like, "This isn't it. This is an M134, and this is like his." He's like, these are the Cubans. And he pulls out this missile. And he's just like, this will bust the bunker underneath the bunker. Like, it just... Sam Rockwell is a treat in this role. And I saw someone saying that he should return as the guy in the chair for the Thunderbolts. And I would love that so much. Like, just somewhere in these where he's in the background. Not a main character, but just, mucking things up from the shadows.
He could just be like a one-off character appearance in like a new Disney show.
Yeah, I would gladly appreciate that.
Character in Disney shows, just as a rich asshole.
Yeah, and he's just funding the bad guys or something because he's bored. I don't know.
Yep. Has like one interest with them. that align. But
Yeah.
like that's it. That's his only motivation.
Well, I mean, that's kind of his character in this. Like, he's kind of not a bad bloke. He's just an idiot until Ivan Vanko enters the equation, and then he's like, and they find one interest that aligns, and
Hammer's like, I will pay for everything you want to do always.
yeah,
Just
like,
because he wants a suit, and he's like, oh, this guy's building a suit, kind of.
yeah. And then my final notes are improv is a lot better during the second half. I think it's specifically from. I think it's like after the house party onward, improv just gets a lot better. Especially during like the final like action sequence. It's just
Let's talk about the house party for a second. We kind of mentioned it.
yeah.
So like that's the closest we got to a drunk asshole Iron Man.
Yeah. That is tragic.
Yeah. I somewhat enjoy that story arc because it's a lot of seeing him suffer
Yeah.
and doing it to himself.
Yeah.
But then eventually he works his way out of it on his own. And like it's just very inspiring for a lot of people. And I feel like they could have touched on that a whole lot more. But the party scene itself is kind of fun.
A little bit, yeah. Him
But
just with
mostly
the
the fight.
yeah. The fight between him and Rhodey, it's just two guys clanking around.
Yeah.
The DJ in that sequence died like shortly after the filming of this Wrapped.
Yeah.
So that's a fun fact. DJ AM, I think, is his name.
Wow.
So yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in an Iron Man film. Not the good one. And not the other one, but in a Iron Man film. What a way to end your career. But I mean, he can say he was in, well, he could have said he was in Marvel films when they were still good.
DJ, play a song that I can beat my best friend's ass to.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
You can tell that line was ad-libbed because he cracks up at the end of delivering that line, and you can tell that it was a real, like,
Yeah.
he
action.
was laughing for real saying that line.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do like that he, the whole time he's just making fun of Rhodey. He's like, you want to be the War Machine? Like, it felt a little shoehorned in there, but at the same time, I was like,
it was almost a fantastic moment, you know?
yeah, it's just shy of that. Wait, say that again. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking about War Machine, I actually think this is the best War Machine like look throughout the films. Ever since then, I think they've gotten too smooth, but I like how this one, it's clunky and bulky, and it just looks like War Machine from the comics.
100%. I 100% agree with that statement. This War Machine is the best looking in the MCU.
Yeah. It's a shame that all of them have since become not this. I mean, I like the Iron Patriot look.
I think it's goofy as fuck. It reminds me of Cap.
I mean, yeah. Well, in the comics, it's Norman Osborn, but like the way that they translate it to film, I think it looks pretty all right. And essentially, that's what they're going for: is here's our Captain America, but he's Iron Man, kind of sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's stupid.
100%.
What if they kept bringing back the ex-wife, and but every time he tried to use it, it still never worked?
It just doesn't work. It just turns into a running gag.
Well, I love how when he does shoot it, like the actual, I don't know, the actual launcher part of the suit, it just like slowly descends, like it's just, like hiding its head in shame.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the parts that I enjoyed the most. Their banter during that sequence is just top notch. Him and Don Cheadle, they play off each other very well.
They do.
and like that sequence where he's like, well, you want to be the big gun, you want the big gun up there, so they both head that way, and just
they just stop and look at each other like, wait, what?
Yeah, and when Tony and Pepper Potts land on the roof and they have their moment, and then the camera cuts and you see him just sitting there on the roof. That's such a great scene.
I frankly, I think there should be more sequences of just our hero getting some, and then like our our sidekicks just enjoying from a distance.
Just off. All of
More superhero cuck scenes, please.
Yeah, I mean, there's that great. I'm not a fan of Civil War the movie, but the scene where they're just in the Volkswagen Beetle and they're just looking at him like, my man. That's great.
Yeah, well, Frenching his girlfriend's niece.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Post-credit scene. That's my next note. That was
Jumping past the final boss or the final battle.
You know, actually, I do got some notes on that one. Not actually written down, but I everything that I was reading, everyone said not just the final act, but specifically the final showdown between him and Whiplash. It's very underwhelming, and I'm like, well, kind of. But I mean, the whole sequence goes back and forth between a fight sequence, then the actual chase itself is pretty entertaining to watch. Mm-hmm. They're trying to pick off these suits without, like, he can't stop and focus on any of them because he's trying to get control of Rhodey's suit the whole time. Black Widow's doing her thing. It's going back and forth between those. Then there is the sequence where it's just him and Rhodey taking out a bunch of drones. And then Whiplash kind of shows up and he does the same thing that he did from earlier. And I mean, it's kind of a retread, but at the same time, there's only so much that you can do there. Mm-hmm. And then they nicely wrap it up with a bow where they do the thing that they did earlier and just shoot at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one big thing that they do is, where what Whiplash does is he prepares his power and his abilities to take on exactly one Iron Man.
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting to fight two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of just got put down the same way as last time.
Yeah.
And, Iron Man and Rhodey just happened to shoot at each other earlier, and they were like, oh, we know what happens when we do this.
Yeah. Frankly, I wish they did that more in the MCU where they use that, like they kind of do the thing where with like Thor and Captain America, where Thor slams the hammer on the shield and it creates like this not ricochet, what is it, this like shockwave, and they do that throughout the films where he does that, and
because Thor was attacking him and they found out that happened.
Yeah. And I wish that they did that more with like the repulsors. I don't know. I like stuff like that where it's just, oh, hey, it feels like a combo in a video game where it's like, oh, like one of those team up moves in Marvel Rivals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish that Rhodey and Iron Man hit R1 at the same time occasionally. What was I gonna get at? Oh, the end credit scene. Thor. Nothing too crazy going on there. Coulson's driving an
You know that? You don't know it's Thor.
I mean,
it's just a hammer in the desert.
Well, it's certainly not Bob the Builder's hammer.
Could be Coulson's.
It could be Coulson's. All he says is, "Sir, I think we found it," and it could have been his lost hammer, his lost mallet.
I remember thinking that it was the most prop-looking hammer ever. It did not look like it was made out of like actual metal or stone or stuff. It looked like it was made out of plastic in that post-credit scene.
They they filmed it during the filming of Thor, and My assumption is they just grabbed one of the toys, that you would have bought at like Walmart, where they would have bought it for somebody's kid, and that kid would have whacked their brother or sister, and that's what they use. That's my assumption if it looks prop like.
Yeah,
because they had the actual hammer that Chris Hemsworth stole. Because wasn't he notorious for stealing those off set?
Yeah, pretty much all of the Marvel characters have taken something.
Yeah.
From their sets. Like Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. has an Avengers sign.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Yep. Paul Rudd took something from the set of Ant-Man.
Didn't he?
I think he took a suit.
I think he. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
He stole a suit, and didn't he steal a Captain America shield, and then he auctioned it off for charity?
All I remember is the suit.
Because there was like a charity thing where they sold a Captain America shield that was signed by like everyone. I'm 90% certain he stole a shield. Man, this is where Jarvis would come in handy, Jarvis, run that through.
I mean, you pretty much do have that on your phone.
I mean, I could, but that involves actually having to type it. I don't have a British.
Oh, throwing it out there. This is the last. No, it's not. Never mind. I'm gonna recount
Iron Man
that.
3.
The last
Avengers.
Iron Man movie with Jarvis, like just an Iron Man movie.
No, because Jarvis is in Iron Man 3.
Oh, he is. I was mixing up my timeline.
Because it's until Age of Ultron that
That's right. That's right.
was Jarvis.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So we talked about this during the first week. There was a time in which Quentin Tarantino was set to direct an Iron Man film, and in no way, shape, or form was he ever set to direct an Iron Man 2. But I would like to take a moment and think of what could have been a Quentin Tarantino Iron Man 2. What is everyone's thoughts?
So, what would have been exactly Tarantino's Iron Man 1?
There wasn't much other than I believe Tom Cruise was set to direct or set to star as the titular character.
So if we just assume he's keeping the same story, just Tarantino-fied?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to think on that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, because I mean, my thought process was we ditched Tom Cruise. It's Tom Selleck. John said that there's a cigar under the mask when the helmet pops up. My thought process is it's a gold suit like the initial like Iron Man suit, right? But like when he shoots somebody and it gets blood stained, because it is a Tarantino film, of course. There's excessive swearing. That's where the red in the Iron Man suit comes from.
Yeah. That's how he would get that idea.
Yeah. And then War Machine. I don't know, maybe it's just a black guy in a tank.
Well, it can't be Samuel L. Jackson, because, I mean, he would still be Fury.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he's doing two roles.
Maybe War Machine in the Tarantino MCU is Nick Fury also.
Well, hold on. What if Sam Jackson is Nick Fury, but then they get Dustin Hoffman to come back as the like original Nick Fury?
In the second movie, so he plays Nick Fury in the first movie.
Yeah.
But then in the second movie, he's War Machine.
Yeah, it's like in It's Always Sunny where they keep swapping roles of the Lethal Weapon, like 5 and 7, you know.
Yeah, I could see that.
So yeah, I would pay good money to watch a Tarantino directed Iron Man film with Sam Jackson as War Machine. Excessive use of not just violence and gore and sex, but also the N-word.
Yeah, so the beginning with, I guess, not with the court.
The Senate. Pretty sure it's the Senate? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot more like vulgar with his language.
Yeah.
Like, they threaten to kick him out, and he like puts on the suit and threatens everybody and leaves.
It'd be beautiful. The scene in Monaco pretty much plays out the same way, except Mickey Rourke is spitting up a lot more blood. Except it's not Mickey Rourke, it's Johnny Depp. And
It's Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Young Johnny Depp.
Yeah, young Johnny Depp. And let's see. But it's not Whiplash. Instead, it's the Crimson Dynamo, but he has whips for some reason. And the whole time he's just trying to whip Tony Stark's foot.
Justin Hammer is Steve Buscemi.
See, my idea for a Tarantino directed Iron Man 2 was that the Mark 6 would be revealed and the suit would have toes. And that would be the only difference between the Mark 5 and the Mark 6.
It's like those horrible like hiking shoes where they have the toes on them. Oh god, I don't even.
And they
like
could grip into the like walls and ceiling, so he could stand on any surface.
I was gonna say, and that's where he gets the idea for the Spider-Man suit later on.
Yeah.
But and I was gonna say in the scene where he's in the donut, it's still the same. He's still in the donut. It's
but
still
he's
Samuel
hanging
Jackson.
upside
It's
down.
actually War Machine, not Fury, or not Fury. But like it's zoomed in on his feet,
Yeah.
and then it slowly zooms out from there to show that he's in the donut. But
And
like
his
he's,
feet
like,
are
wiggling
dirty.
his toes.
very dirty.
That Tarantino shot.
Yep. Yep. And then the final action sequence, instead of like two repulsors, it's both War Machine and Iron Man coming together, kicking the Crimson Dynamo in the face.
No,
But they're, like,
actually, he's
smashing
using
his face in.
the feet repulsors.
Or that works too. I was gonna say, if you have both the foot, you get 2 feet.
Just any good reason to show the bottom of the Iron Man suit with toes feet.
Yeah.
All the flying scenes are like showing from right behind his feet, mirroring the backseat camera that he always shows in his movies.
It do be that way. Yeah.
But
Honestly,
it's like the feet are up close.
now I'm excited for this Tarantino Iron Man 2 that will never get made.
I mean, now that they're doing like a soft reboot of the MCU,
That is true.
it might be a real thing.
There's hope. There is always hope. So speaking about the Mark 6 and the Mark 6 without toes, initially the Mark 6 was supposed to be the Mark 4. This was something I learned about while I was doing my research. So the one with the triangle heart, it was supposed to be like the same color scheme as the Mark 4, which from what I looked into or what I saw, the Mark IV has no major upgrades from the Mark III. It's just a little bit slimmer. And then the Mark VI doesn't have any major upgrades except maybe that laser. But they changed it just a little bit and added some silver last minute for the film. So, are y'all ready for trivia? It's the trivia that I definitely didn't get off of Wikipedia, IMDb, and a guy off of Reddit. So, whether you're ready or not, Scarlett Johansson dyed her hair due to wanting the role of Black Widow very badly. Did y'all know that? Did you know that, Morky?
Is that trivia? Is that a true or false?
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
just something I read, and we're gonna go with it's true.
Okay, cool.
I'll believe it.
I didn't know that specifically, no. I knew she dyed her hair, but I didn't know it was for that reason.
Yeah, and Mickey Rourke had a lot of input into the look of his character, the teeth, the tats, and the bird. That was all.
I knew that.
That was all him. Seth Green has a blink and you'll miss it cameo during the first person like walking sequence with Tony at the beginning. There's also another goof during that sequence where during his presentation he's wearing a black suit with a white shirt. But when he's testing his blood, he's wearing a completely different suit with a black shirt. And they just kind of left that in there. Let's see. Stan Lee is a national treasure.
Yeah.
is a national treasure.
God rest his soul. Mickey Rourke found the hardest part of his character was looking like he knew what he was doing with a computer because he's not very tech savvy. Sam Rockwell's low dance was improvised because that was something that he would do to get into character. And they just kind of let him do that during one take and they left it in.
Added bonus to that one. He does that often.
Yeah.
In a lot of his movies. Like, he does a dance similar to that.
But that's what I'm saying. Could you imagine the guy in the chair selling illegal arms? Specifically, the ex-wife. Just failed arms that do not work.
To go back to the dance thing, I'm surprised that they didn't do like a MC Hammer joke or something like that.
Oh, that would have been good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good.
See, this movie would have...
Like, he could have, like, after his dance, the first thing he could have said on the mic was, like, it's hammer time or something like that.
And then, yeah.
It would have been so cheesy and so stupid.
Would have been perfect for him.
This movie would have gone
Hammer,
up.
it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
This movie would have gone up at least 2 or 3 Ozais.
Yeah.
Let's see. So... The person that they had in mind, they had a lot of different people in mind to play the role of Black Widow, but the person that they wanted was Emily Blunt, and she had to turn down the role because there were scheduling conflicts with Gulliver's Travels.
Huh.
Yeah, she picked the right one.
Yeah, because honestly, possibly, I mean, the way that they did Black Widow dirty in the end.
Gulliver's Travels, huh?
Yeah.
The highlight from the movie, and by highlight I mean the only thing that I really remember about that movie is Jack Black pissing on a bunch of tiny people.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
I think of he's walking up towards the town through the ocean, but the ocean's only at like his waist or chest. And he just grabs all the ships and pulls them away.
Add it to the list. Edward Norton.
The only thing I remember.
Edward Norton was rumored to have a cameo to lead up to the Avengers. That didn't happen. The Tesseract was in Tony's dad's notebook. It's got like a different name, but it's clearly the Tesseract. And
yeah, I would know that.
Yeah, that was something where I was like, oh, hey, it is cool to rewatch these movies because, yeah, I didn't know that when we didn't know what a Tesseract was the last time I saw this in 2010.
It was just a random input.
Yeah, it was like, oh, what's this guy drawing a Rubik's Cube for? Culver University there's a reference to an incident happening at that university during the final sequence where Tony's talking with Fury. It's just kind of like a news report on one of the TV screens. So there's a reference to the Hulk, and then in the screen behind that, there's various different places on a map, and one of them is in Africa, and it's Wakanda. So yeah, all the trivia you never knew and definitely didn't know, and I definitely didn't get off of Wikipedia, Reddit, and IMDb trivia facts. So yeah, there you have it, folks. So, like I said, I don't think that this is like a bad movie per se. I think it's about as good as the first one with just different issues. I think it's also a result of like a writer's strike, various studio interference. But yeah, what do y'all think?
For me, it's corn. No, I'm just kidding.
Big
sorry.
lump of knobs, he has the juice.
It has the juice. All right, we're gonna get demonetized if that's important to us.
Yeah.
But no, like I agree. It's out of all the Iron Man installments, solo films or not, all of them. It's probably my least favorite.
Fair enough.
But I still enjoy it every time I watch it.
Fair enough. What about you, John?
I think it still holds up. especially compared to modern Marvel movies. But like I said before, it's textbook a good movie, but just not a very memorable one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree. I mean, like, for me, I found the action sequences were fun. I find most of the characters play well off of one another. Jon Favreau's a treat as Happy. I like that he gets a little bit more to do in this one.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
I thoroughly love Happy. And
Yeah.
Jon Favreau is Happy.
Yeah.
100%.
He is one of the best parts of specifically the Iron Man trilogy, but even when he appears in the various Avengers and Deadpool and Wolverine, like, he's a ray of sunshine, you know?
Yeah. He's a lot less friendly in the comics. I love his MCU portrayal.
Yeah. I like the what was I gonna say? Like I said, Justin Hammer. He's kind of my favorite part of this movie because he's just a dolt. You know, he's just not a good human being. He's just an idiot, and he's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's Iron Man 2, folks. It is certainly a movie. If we were to rate this on a scale of 1 through 8 Ozais, how many Ozais?
I think I'd give it a 5.5.
5.5. So is that like a King Solomon type situation where we cut an Ozai in half?
I mean, I didn't really think that far. It was just because I couldn't decide whether I wanted to give it a 5 or a 6, so I just went in between.
Fair enough. What about you, Dayton? Out of how many Ozais would you give this?
So I don't know the true scale of Ozai, but going off of that last answer,
So
I would probably give it a 6.5.
So
I guess to put it into perspective, we gave Iron Man 1 a 7, I believe.
yeah. I would.
Okay, I'll stick with 6.
Okay, I would say a 5 out of 8 Ozais. Like I said, I think initially I gave the first Iron Man a 7. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's. Like I guess I'm contradicting myself because I said it's about as good as the first one, but it's not. It is significantly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. That's two less Ozai, so I mean that's almost significantly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like it's not as good. Then if I had the choice between watching the first Iron Man or this one, I guess I would rather watch the first one. But
Yeah.
I will say, it was enjoyable. I felt like everything flows very nicely. That's something that I think recent Marvel films have struggled with is pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen, but
Making the 2 hours fly by rather than be like, oh, that was 2 hours.
yeah, like I remember that was actually the one statement John made right before we started was, "This is 2 hours. I'm gonna fall asleep." And recently, I get home and I fall asleep while watching something. So the fact that I was actually able to kind of stay up and watch this, I was like, oh yeah, that was enjoyable. It kept me entertained enough to stay up. But yeah, I don't know. I can't even remember what happened in the last Captain America. He's not Steve Rogers anymore. But yeah. Oh yeah, actually I was meaning to talk to you about this. Completely unrelated topic, but did you see the new casting for the Harry Potter show?
I have.
What's your take on it?
So I'm excited for Lithgow to be Dumbledore. That'll be interesting.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very intrigued by that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm okay with pretty much the whole casting list, except I'm not huge on the Snape casting.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like,
Yeah.
were they going with because Snape is he's pretty much all black in those, and they were like, well, let's make it literal. I was like, how are they gonna do his? Because it's very blatant in the books. He has greasy long black hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's pale
Yeah.
with dark green eyes.
So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. If they give him the goatee, I might forgive it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not like super stoked on that one. I'm curious, but
I mean,
I'll give it a chance. Like, you know me and my Potterverse, I'll give it a chance.
yeah, I mean, Snape's appearance, I don't know, doesn't really affect his character in the books.
Not too much.
As far as I've read, I don't know. I've only read up to Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, you're right. When Snape starts getting involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Snape actually is. Like, it's being revealed that he is a part of Harry's backstory that Harry doesn't know about.
Yeah. I've watched all the movies, yeah, I mean, just as long as the actor does a good portrayal of Snape, I feel like it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all about the acting and how well they portray the personality and the character from the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely agreeing. Like once I see it, I'll form an actual full judgment.
Yeah.
But like, that's the one casting that I'm kind of somewhat taken back by. But I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna judge it.
Well, I guess they could give him like what is it? I'm trying to think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but they could give him a wig. They could give him the goatee. It would look out of place in like an SNL sketch, but they could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's HBO. They'll make it look somewhat good.
Yeah, they have money for stuff.
Yeah.
Especially after all they made in the last few hit shows.
Yeah. I've been meaning to start The Last of Us season 2, but I'm not sure whether I want to go back and replay part 2 and part 1, or if I want to, because like what I did last time was I would watch the episode and then I would play that specific part of the game and then wait till the next week and then kind of keep up with it that way. But I don't know if I want to do that for part 2, because part 2 is long.
I still need to play those games.
You never played The Last of Us?
I've like watched stuff on it, but I've never actually sat down and played it. But,
yeah, I mean, I've played the first one. I haven't played the second one, but I know the story of the second one.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good to a point. It's got some pacing issues. It's almost like some of the folks behind Marvel were behind it. Just kidding, they weren't. But you would think. Any hoozles. Does anyone have any closing thoughts? Anything else we should say about Iron Man 2?
I love Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
Fun fact: this is actually the only Iron Man film where it doesn't end with him saying that.
Yeah.
So, on that note, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Dayton's Couch. Thank you, Dayton, for joining us and ranting about Iron Man 2 for a little bit. Talking about the important things. Donuts, Tarantino, and his love of feet.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, anytime we talk about Iron Man. But only if we talk about Iron Man,
Yeah.
Anything else, it's going to be, I don't know.
Excluding the first episode.
Yeah. Anytime excluding that, we'll have to find some other Iron Man related content. But yeah, after this, we got Thor to look forward to. Are you excited for that one?
It's actually a movie I've never watched before, so yeah.
Other than the fact that he dyed his eyebrows, it's pretty all right.
It's a space drama, so get ready for that.
Yeah. It's basically it's kind of Star Wars. This long-haired guy falls in love with Natalie Portman, and yeah. That's about as many of the comparisons as I could make. I thought they were more alike, and then I thought about it. I was like, not really. But yeah, it's not terrible. And then after that, we got Captain America, the first Captain America, and then after that, we got the Avengers, and that one's pretty not terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you all for. Oh, go ahead.
Big one. I was gonna say that's the big one before the next big one.
Yeah. And that was what Guardians of the Galaxy? I don't know. Iron Man 3, Captain America. There was a
The
lot.
next real big hit after Avengers was probably Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, Age of Ultron did really well too, but it dropped off.
Crossed $1 billion, didn't it? Yeah. I mean, Iron Man 3 crossed $1 billion, didn't it?
After Avengers, they all started costing a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Except for, like, I think the Cap movie was pretty cheap.
Yeah, that one was, I like how we refer to it as cheap, but it's still like $100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like $750 million to produce, and it's like, oh, it's cheap.
Yeah, we're like, oh, it was a cheap one. Actually, that's one thing I should probably find. So, Iron Man 2 had a budget of $200 million. Jeez. And it made $623.9 million at the worldwide box office. So yeah, there you go. I continued in my tradition of looking up the box office numbers. I definitely didn't forget about those.
Yeah, just save it for the end.
Yeah. Well, this sounds like a good spot to call it quits, and I'll probably put the exit music out right here and something. Yeah, so tune in next week, folks, as we talk about Thor, the first Thor, where he dyes his eyebrows.
Thor in the Portman.
Yep. Did you know that?
Another.
What?
Another.
Oh. Did you know that? Swedish ships they don't have names or numbers on the sides of them. Instead, they have barcodes. That way, when they come into port, they can Scandinavian.
That's pretty good.
Good night, folks.
Without an exit, yeah.